They told us it would never happen. They said the bridge was burned, the door was closed, the ship had sailed. WWE and Chris Jericho, done, finished, over. And yet, on the 27th of January 2026, WWE just pulled off what might be the most insane plot twist in modern wrestling history. Chris Jericho, yes, that Chris Jericho, the man who's been AEW's cornerstone, their first ever champion, their poster boy for years, just showed up on Monday Night Raw to save Centimeter Punk from a brutal beatdown at the hands of AJ Styles. And if you're sitting there thinking this makes any sense, then you haven't been paying attention to the absolute chaos that's been brewing behind the scenes. This isn't just a return. This is a declaration of war. Let me ask you something right now. How many of you actually saw this coming? Be honest in the comments below, because I guarantee 99% of you are just as shocked as I am. But here's where it gets even more twisted. This wasn't some random save. This wasn't Jericho just happening to be in the building. No, no, no. The timing, the execution, the sheer audacity of this moment, it all points to something much bigger than just one night on Raw. Because let's be real, Chris Jericho doesn't do anything without a reason. And Centimeter Punk doesn't need saving unless something catastrophic is about to go down. So what the hell happened on the 27th of January? And more importantly, what does this mean for the future of professional wrestling as we know it? Let's break this down piece by piece, because this story is layered like a championship lasagna, and every single layer is more shocking than the last. The beatdown. The night started innocently enough. Centimeter Punk was in the ring cutting one of his trademark promos, and you know how Punk operates. He's never been one to hold back, never been one to play it safe. He was going off on the current state of WWE, talking about how he's fought his way back from exile, overcome every obstacle, and he's not going anywhere anytime soon. Classic Punk, passionate, intense, and completely unaware of what was about to hit him. Then AJ Styles' music hit. Now, here's the thing about AJ Styles, the man is one of the greatest in-ring performers of all time. Period. But lately, AJ's been different. There's been this edge to him, this darkness that we haven't seen before, and when he walked down that ramp with that look in his eyes, you could feel something was off. AJ got in Punk's face and said something that sent chills down everyone's spine. "You don't belong here anymore, Phil. You never did." Before Punk could even respond, AJ hit him with a phenomenal forearm that came out of nowhere. Punk went down hard. And then the real beating started. AJ wasn't wrestling, he was trying to end Punk's career right there in the middle of that ring. Kicks, strikes, stomps, it was vicious. The crowd was screaming, the commentary team was losing their minds, and Punk was getting absolutely destroyed. Referees tried to pull AJ off, but he shoved them away like they were nothing. Security rushed the ring, and AJ fought them off too. This wasn't a work. This wasn't storyline aggression. This looked real. This looked like AJ Styles had snapped, and Centimeter Punk was paying the price. Question for you: do you think AJ Styles has been underutilized in WWE lately? Drop your thoughts in the comments. The save that broke the internet. Just when it looked like Punk was going to get carted out on a stretcher, just when it seemed like this beating would never end, the arena went pitch black. Silence. Then, break the walls down. The place erupted. I'm talking earthquake-level noise. People were on their feet, jaws on the floor, phones out recording because they couldn't believe what they were witnessing. Chris Jericho, wearing his signature scarf, light-up jacket, and that unmistakable smirk, stormed down to the ring like a man possessed. AJ Styles' face said it all. Confusion, shock, maybe even a hint of fear, because Chris Jericho wasn't supposed to be there. He can't be there. He's under contract with AEW. At least, that's what we all thought. Jericho slid into the ring, and what happened next was pure chaos. He hit AJ with a code breaker that echoed through the entire arena. AJ rolled out of the ring, clutching his jaw, staring at Jericho like he'd just seen a ghost. And honestly, we were all staring the same way. Jericho helped Punk to his feet, and for a moment, just a moment, these two legends stood side by side in a WWE ring. Two men who've had their wars, their battles, their history. Two men who've main event WrestleMania. Two men who define what it means to be a professional wrestler. And they were standing together. The camera caught Punk mouthing, "What are you doing here?" to Jericho. And Jericho, he just smiled and said, "Saving your ass." What does it look like? Here's a question for the die-hard fans. What was your favorite Jericho vs Punk match? Let me know below. Why this changes everything. Now, let's talk about the real story here, because this goes way beyond just one shocking moment on Raw. Chris Jericho has been with AEW since day one. He was their first world champion. He's been one of their biggest stars, one of their most reliable veterans, and one of the faces of that company. For him to show up on WWE television isn't just surprising, it's unprecedented in the modern era. This isn't like when a contract expires and someone jumps ship. This is different. This is massive. So what happened? Did Jericho's AEW contract expire? Did WWE offer him something he couldn't refuse? Or is there something even bigger happening behind the scenes that we don't know about yet? Some insiders are already speculating that this could be the beginning of a new era of cooperation between WWE and AEW. Maybe, just maybe, we're looking at the first steps toward a forbidden door swinging wide open. Imagine the possibilities. Imagine the dream matches. Imagine the money. But here's the darker theory. What if Jericho's appearance isn't sanctioned by AEW at all? What if this is Jericho going rogue, burning bridges, and doing what Jericho does best, creating chaos and making headlines? Either way, the wrestling world will never be the same after the 27th of January 2026. The Centimeter Punk connection. We can't ignore the Punk factor in all of this, because let's be honest, Jericho didn't just save anybody. He saved Centimeter Punk, a man he's had epic battles with, a man he's shared the ring with on some of the biggest stages in wrestling history. Is there history being rewritten here? Is there a brotherhood we didn't know existed? Or is Jericho playing a longer game that none of us can see yet? Punk's return to WWE has already been one of the most controversial and talked about storylines in recent memory. Adding Jericho to the mix? That's pouring gasoline on an already raging fire. And what about AJ Styles? Why did he snap? What triggered that level of aggression? Is he being manipulated by someone backstage? Is there a larger faction at play? The questions are endless, and that's exactly what makes this so brilliant. Quick question for you, Team Punk or Team AJ? Comment below. What happens next? So where do we go from here? Will Jericho appear on next week's Raw? Will AEW respond? Will Tony Khan say anything? Will WWE acknowledge the insanity of what just happened? One thing's for certain, the wrestling business just got a whole lot more interesting. Because if Chris Jericho is back in WWE, even for one night, even for one moment, then all bets are off. The rules have changed, the game has evolved, and we're all just along for the ride. This is the kind of moment that reminds us why we love professional wrestling. The unpredictability, the shock, the spectacle, the moments that make you jump out of your seat and immediately text your friend saying, "Did you just see that?" The 27th of January 2026 will go down in history as the night Chris Jericho reminded everyone that in wrestling, anything can happen. And when you least expect it, the walls come down. So what do you think is going to happen next? Is Jericho back for good? Is this a one-time thing? Is there a massive storyline we're only seeing the beginning of? Sound off in the comments, smash that like button, and make sure you're subscribed to Wrestling Zone 1 because we're going to be covering every single development as this story unfolds. This is history, folks, and we just witnessed it together.